Hello, and welcome to my channel, where I talk about consulting and how to get a consulting offer. Before we start, I offer tutoring if you want one-on-one advice on questions like these, and there's a link in the description below to find out more. In this video, I'll show you how to answer the questions you might see in a consulting case interview on smart dog beds. Let's dive into it. Before we start, it's important to go over some key things to remember when doing case interviews. First, when you're given the context to the case, summarize the problem statement back to the interviewer succinctly. Next, when answering questions, always take the time you need to develop a structured and detailed answer, and when explaining it out loud, take deep breaths and speak clearly. Don't start rushing, as it will make you more nervous. One tip for this is to give a one-line overview of your answer before you explain it, i.e., your overall argument or the headlines of your answer. Next, expect to give justification for your answers, and if necessary, to re-evaluate them in the face of new evidence without getting flustered. Remember, this is all to see how you think, not to upset you. If you think about it like that, it's easier to deal with. Next, try and refer to our client when you can, and always explain how the answer to any question affects the overarching problem facing the client. Finally, don't be afraid to throw interesting ideas out there at the end of your answer. If it's a market sizing question, mention a quirky archetype that you will neglect, or if you have to come up with a pricing strategy, offer a possibly unique deal or promotion. Your client, DogNap, has been making dog beds in the UK for the past 20 years and is now making a revolutionary new type of dog bed that lets the owner know when the dog is in the bed. It tracks its movement, breathing rate, heart rate, temperature, etc. This information all appears on an app on the owner's phone and allows for understanding of their dog's sleep cycle and overall health. The client is interested in bringing this product to market, but wants to know if it makes sense to do so, given they would need to sell about 100,000 of these in the UK in the first year to pay off R&D costs and break even. If they are unlikely to sell this number, they will shelve the product. How would you go about giving them an answer? Feel free to pause the video here to write down your summary. So, just to clarify, our client, DogNap, develops smart dog beds for monitoring the health of dogs while they rest. They need to sell 100,000 of these in year one to break even. They want to know if this is feasible. At this stage, you can ask for some additional information or ask clarifying questions to the interviewer. Possible questions include the following. Are they interested in long-term growth of the business after the first year? To which the answer is not at this stage. They have run up high R&D costs and investors are very concerned about their ability to pay it off first. Also, what are the health benefits to this dog bed? To which the answer is primarily the data on how well the dog is sleeping and if it is breathing regularly, meaning it can detect when the dog is sick early on, saving vet bills before something gets serious. Remember, this part is usually not a test to make sure you ask these questions. If you can't think of a question, there's no need to say anything. You can probably get by without knowing this information. So, how would you structure your approach to this question? At this point, ask for some time to gather your thoughts. Pause the video here, and when you've written your answer, click play. Well, fundamentally, we need to sell 100,000 units in the UK in year one. What do we require for this? We require a suitable market of customers willing to buy this product at its designated price. We require few competitors such that it is possible to take 100,000 customers from this market in year one. We require a company that is capable of advertising and selling this product to 100,000 customers. We require a product that 100,000 people will believe in and buy. Note that this fits nicely into the business situation framework I mentioned in my other video, The Ultimate Guide to Consulting Interviews, and there's a link in the description if you want to see that. Note, this business situation framework splits it into 4 categories: customers, competitors, company, and product. So, how do we evaluate if all 4 of these conditions can be met? Well, we need to estimate the market size for dog owners in the UK who would buy a DogNap smart bed, or see if an analysis has already been done, but as this is new technology, this is unlikely. We also need to evaluate the current state of the smart dog bed market. We need to evaluate the current state of the smart dog bed market and see how many competitors there are. Given we have already been told this is proprietary technology, it is likely competitors will be making regular dog beds and will take a long time to develop the technology to make smart dog beds, at least in year 1. Beyond this is outside of the scope of the project, but is worth consideration if we do future work with our client. As we have already run up R&D costs, it does not make sense to invest in unnecessary advertising. Given DogNap already has customers, we should see how many there are and if it is possible to sell all 100,000 units to current customers or offer through current distribution networks without raising further cost. There are also synergies with Internet of Things companies. There are also synergies with IoT companies. As a smart device, we should reach out to IoT companies to make it part of their network, as it offers benefits to them in return for free marketing and advertising. Finally, we need to see if people are interested in buying a smart dog bed. Do we have survey data on how worried dog owners are about their dog's health or their sleep patterns? Is it possible to calculate the benefits of this device, given its function as wellness? Is it possible to calculate the benefits of the device? Given that its function is wellness, it should be possible to estimate the saving in vet bills that we can use to sell our product. We can also market peace of mind to its owners. In terms of priorities and achievability, the market size is most critical and the easiest to estimate. That leads us on to our next question. Please estimate the market size for smart dog beds in the UK. Some information you might find useful to know is that each bed will sell for £100 and can fit 1 dog of any size. Pause the video here, and when you're ready, click play. There are 70 million people in the UK, and with around 2.5 people per household, there are 30 million households. Let's say all dogs are part of a household. Police and other service dogs would likely be very loyal customers, but they're very small in number, so we can neglect them. Say 30% of people own a dog, some are allergic, don't like them, don't have the money, space or time to look after them. Assume on average 1 dog, as few people will have many, and that gives us 9 million dogs total in the UK. If we assume 10% of people will be interested in this software and capable of buying it, as it is new and lots of people won't trust it or think that they need it, so we can't expect this to be a large figure. This could change after the first year when the public become more aware of the product, but that is not the current situation. That gives us a total market of 900,000 beds. At £100 per bed, this is a £90 million annual market size. At £100 per bed, this is a £90 million annual market. We would need to secure 100,000 purchases to generate 10 million in revenue, roughly 11% of market share. This is quite a small section of the market. We would need to secure 100,000 purchases to generate £10 million in revenue, roughly 11% of market share. This is quite a small section of the market, and so it could be possible to take in the first year. However, we would need some data to check if this is the correct market size. Here is some information relating to dogs in the UK. Looking at this, can you tell me how this affects the hypothesis? Pause the video here, and when you're ready, click play. So we have two graphs here. The first shows us how much dog owners spend on their dog each month in buckets of cost from 2019 to 2023. The second graph shows the number of pet dogs in the UK from 2019 to 2023. The first piece of information that's relevant to our question is the 2023 value of the second graph. We can see that the number of dogs in the UK is actually currently 12 million. So we were a bit out, but this means we don't have to secure as much of the market. We can also see from the first graph that 10% of owners spend greater than £200 a month on their dogs, and 20% spend between £100 and £200 per month. This combined 30% seems our most likely customer segment, so now we see that there are 4 million beds in the annual smart dog bed market, giving an updated market size of £400 million. We now have to capture 2.5% of a £400 million market in year one. Very possible, but we would need to survey customers to confirm this hypothesis by seeing how much they would pay for a one-off purchase like this on top of regular bills for their dog, as we only have their regular spending habits. There is also some variance in year-on-year spending habits and dog numbers, but no trend that we can identify. It is not apparent that this market is going to disappear, so we only need to look at the 2023 column. If we were having to include a year 2 in our strategy, we can see that the highest possible percentage of market share, 100,000 units, would be to give us our worst case scenario, but that's out of scope at the moment, so there's no need to make it more complicated. Before you make any recommendations, do you have any considerations about this company or identify any problems with the objective? Pause the video here, and when you're ready, click play. Some possible answers include barriers to entry. How low is it? Is there enough complexity in the dog bed industry to make it difficult for wellness companies currently making heart monitors to make dog beds and put their existing products inside? Is there enough R&D investment needed to stop dog bed manufacturer competitors from making their own smart dog beds? Can we patent this idea? It would delay competition. Can we patent this idea? It would delay competition entering the market, which could be essential given we have possible competitors from both dog bed and wellness device industries. Legal issues. Is this a wellness device? And if so, what is its effectiveness? What happens if it has false positives or false negatives, especially with dogs where there is such a range in size, in fur, in noise levels? Will we get sued? This might not be encouraging for investors who are already worried about R&D costs if this is a serious issue. Finally, can this be used by cats or other similar-sized pets? If so, it would easily double the market size and the possible revenue at potentially very little increase in development costs. What is your final recommendation to the client? Pause the video here, and when you're ready, click play. Our client, DogNap, has asked us to calculate if selling 100,000 smart dog beds in year 1 to pay off R&D costs is reasonable. We conclude it is reasonable, and it is also an achievable target in this time frame. With an estimated target market of 4 million dog owners paying greater than £100 a month on their dog, we only need to break 2.5% of the market in year 1. Very achievable, given it is proprietary technology. The next steps would be to do a survey to see who would buy this, and a due diligence to check what the risks from competitors and legal risks would be. So, what went well in this interview? At the start, I gave a clear, concise summary and asked sensible, clarifying questions. I then broke the problem statement down into discrete, manageable topics. In market sizing, I used defensible assumptions. And at the end, I threw interesting ideas once the main points had been mentioned. Finally, for the client recommendation, I memorized 3 key pieces of info to add weight. Finally, I always brought the answer back to the problem statement and how it affected our hypothesis. Now it's your turn to answer. What were your answers and how long did you take to reach them? Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and please check out my other videos where I go through more consulting interview tips and tricks. Let me know what questions you have or what type of questions you'd like me to go through next. If you're applying to consulting companies this year, I offer tutoring for questions just like this, and you can follow the link in the description. Thank you and goodbye.